Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, What Jess is Reading. Today I thought I would just do a bookshelf tour. So this is obviously not my entire collection of books that I own in the world. I am at uni right now, so I could only be selective in the books that I brought with me. Obviously I have here the books that I have accumulated while I'm at uni. And I'm in second year, so this time around I decided to only bring with me the books, about 10 books I think, that were on my TBR that I really wanted to get to this year, and this hasn't not worked out. I think I've read about 2 or 3 of those books. Last year what happened was I decided to bring my favourite books with me just to have some comfort, and I did dip into them every so often because I put page flags in them of my favourite parts, but I decided this time to just leave them at home. So let's just get into it. This is what my bookshelf looks like. There is another shelf up there and it has a clock which has fallen down and also some cough sweets. But I'm quite short, as you can probably tell. I don't put books up there because I can't reach them, and I'm so short I can't even see them either, so I've only recently started stacking them like this. I don't actually mind how it looks. I think it looks quite cool. So this is Captain Hook, and also this is Matt Murdock. This section here is kind of short and small books as well as mostly poetry. Staying Alive, Real Poems for Unreal Times by Neil Astley. This is what it looks like. It's quite chunky. Basically it's just a collection of poems about suffering, and I bought it on a recommendation from one of my lecturers. I was writing a 3,000 word essay on the sociology of poetry, which was actually one of my favourite things that I've ever done. So I used that. This is, I don't actually know what this is. It's called Ethics of the Dust by Ruskin, and it is quite pretty. I bought it at a secondhand bookshop. I think it was Books for Amnesty, and I bought this because it looked nice, and I wanted to start doing blackout poetry. God knows where. Oh, there. A nation anticipated better the moral power of consequence. I'm actually really proud of that. So the next one is Salt by Nayera Waheed. This is a poetry collection. I just think it looks really pretty next to Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. So this is obviously one of my prized possessions. Prized as in it means a lot to me, not that I can't get it anywhere, but my best friend Courtney got me this. I just love this collection. I actually included some of these, well, one of these actually, in the essay that I wrote. Yeah, it was this one. My lecturer had never heard of her before, and he commented that he thought it was a really powerful poem. Courtney put a marker in here, and I don't know exactly why she marked this page, but I like to think it's because of this poem. I do not want to have you to fill the empty parts of me. I want to be full on my own. I want to be so complete I could light a whole city, and then I want to have you, because the two of us combined could set it on fire. That's what I like to think that she marked it for. I don't know if it's just because she liked the poem, but to me it's obviously about love, but it could double as a friendship poem. So it upsets me when I see hate for this, and also people mocking it. It's been monumental in terms of putting poetry back into the public sphere and making a lot of young people interested in poetry. Shakespeare's sonnets. I bought this at the British Library in London when I went on a school trip, so I just bought this because I do like Shakespeare. However, I have not read this because I've since realised that classic poetry does not do as much for me as normal poetry. But I do still appreciate Shakespeare, so I brought that with me. And this is a tiny little book. Got this second-hand as well from a bookshop. I paid £2.50 for that. This is Philip Larkin High Windows, and I bought this because it has my favourite poem in it. It's very skeptical. You've probably heard this because it's quite popular, but I really like it. And I first actually came across this in a YA book when I was about 14. This be the verse. They fuck you up, your mum and dad. They may not mean to, but they do. They fill you with the faults they had and add some extra just for you. But they were fucked up in their turn by fools in old style hats and coats. You half the time were soppy stern and half at one another's throats. Man hands on misery to man, it deepens like a coastal shelf. Get out as early as you can and don't have any kids yourself. The next two are not very interesting. It's Agatha Christie's They Do It With Mirrors and A Pocket Full of Rye. I bought these when I went home for Christmas. I got them from the city indoor market, so they were really cheap. Now, I started trying to read them because I wanted to get into her books, because I wanted to read some mysteries, and obviously she's like the queen of mystery. I filmed a clip for my May reading vlog where I opened these. Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race by Rennie Edo Lodge, and Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Then I have Lee Bardugo, Shadow and Bone, which I haven't read. I bought that from a charity shop. This is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine, and Fateful by Claudia Gray, Poison Study Maria V. Snyder, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli, which obviously everybody knows and loves by now, and if you don't, then you ought to read it. And then I have Love, Hate and Other Filters by Samira Ahmed. This was only a 3-star read for me, however, I still appreciate how important it is in terms of representation, and so many people love it. So then I have Tiger Lily by Jodie Lynn Anderson. This managed to get me out of a reading slump back in like October or something, because I was so bogged down with uni work that I just did not want to read fiction for fun at all. It was very unique. I've never read anything like it, but it just had a very sad tone that wasn't very enjoyable, and also it wasn't something that I was expecting. This is Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. I bought this secondhand and I really need to get to that one day because I genuinely have never read it. I remember when I was younger I once took it out of the library and I just didn't read it, so I took it back. Then we have Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I also got this from a charity shop. I think I've read about 100 pages or so of it. It's just quite dense and difficult to read. Like, it's not a light read at all. It's quite lyrical. Here we have Lee Bardugo's Wonder Woman Warbringer. Need to get to that for obvious reasons. I bought it because it was £4 on Amazon and just have never got to it. Here we have Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. That was also in a haul that I did. Then we have The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Adier. That was also in the same haul. Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake. I got this from a charity shop and I still have not started it, and I keep going on about it, but I just need to get to it. Then we have The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, which I will never stop recommending to people. Genuinely, anyone who argues that black stories don't sell are honestly living in denial. This is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Courtney, my best friend, bought me this because I think it's her favourite book. There's been a lot of controversy regarding Jay Asher. I'm kind of hesitant to get into this. This is Never Fade by Alexandra Bracken, and it's kind of annoying because I have read the first one and it's one of my favourite books, but I got the old version of the first book, and it's so much easier to read because it's not as daunting. This is like quite thick and hefty, whereas the other one was quite spread out and the font was quite big and it was floppy. I guess this is the UK version. And I have started that, as you can see. Not very far into it though. I really need to step up my game, that's what I'm realising. Maybe it's just second year. No, I'm just trying to talk myself out of the fact that I am shit at reading now. I mostly read ebooks, as I keep saying. Here we have Marie Lu, The Young Elites. I brought this with me after Christmas. I brought this back with me because I read a few pages of it and someone that I follow on Twitter was reading it, so I just felt like it. Then I never get to it because I'm not as interested in dystopians as I used to be, but I think I will get to it. And also I need to read the last book in her other series, the Legend series, but I did not bring that with me. Something in Between by Marissa de la Cruz. Obviously you can see that I have started this as well. Just wasn't as interested in it. I have to be in a certain mood for contemporaries, and for that one I just really wasn't. This is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which I have not read. Yeah, I haven't read. Oh shit, Matt Murdock's gone. And finally we have To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. This is one of my biggest thrifting achievements, I reckon. That was literally £1 in a charity shop. So that was it for my bookshelf tour. I hope you liked it. I hope it wasn't too short or too long. I'm not really sure how it's going to work out, but I know a lot of people don't really like editing them. I'm quite enjoying editing at the moment, so I'm hoping it won't be too bad. But yeah, see you in the next one.